Welcome back, True Seeker. This coming Father's Day weekend, there is supposed to be a big event for Christian Republican white men, so it seems, all the speakers are white, here in Washington State. And what they're hoping to do is rally Christian Republican men nationwide to go out and vote to fight these liberal demons. And this group believes that Trump was sent by Jesus Christ himself, sent by God above to make this country right again. And what I don't know for certain is if these people are serious, if they are paid for deception, but whatever it is, this ideology, this idea that the Republican Party, Donald Trump is going to save us, it needs to be stopped in its tracks because a lot of people have had this idea in their heads. And we see now where we are in 2026 with Trump back in office. Some people think he was voted back in. If you were following me, we told you the day he was booted out by Biden, not to mention I told you more than a year before Biden was put in why it was going to be Biden. I was trying to educate all the QAnon people about what a PSYOP Q was and why they were putting Biden in 2020 and why Trump would be back in 2024. Exactly how it played out. I was also here the first day of the GOP debates in 2015 when there was a field of 20, and I told you that day why I thought they were putting in Donald Trump. So again, we have information over here that most people don't have, and they really need it. They really need it. But yes, this group of people who are saying we need theology, more theology in America, they're literally calling for a theocracy. If you don't know what a theocracy is, that's a religious government. So it's highly anti-American what these people are going to do in Washington State. They want a theocracy. Now, I always like to see both sides of the field. And understand, this isn't some endorsement of the Democrats or the liberals. That's not what we do on this channel. I try to get people to see how both parties are bought and paid for, and they're leading us all to hell on earth. Advocating for either party is truly insane. And I will show the crystal clear example of how both parties are in on the game that is played with us. But yeah, this idea that Trump was sent by God, and if we just had more of Trumpism in America, everything would be great again. It's so insane. And something that's always bothered me is Christian Republicans, because again, neither party is godly. But if you had to say which party is more Jesus-like, it's not even a contest. It's the Democrats all day, every day. And if you think that's wrong, I'm sorry, then read your Bible. There's nothing the Republicans advocate for that's Christian-like. And I know a lot of you think the issue is abortion. Guess what? Abortion's not mentioned in the Bible. Abortion's a purposefully divisive topic. Neither party wants to solve abortion because the majority of their voter bases come out on that one issue. The majority of people vote Democrat because they call it pro-choice, and the majority of people vote Republican, vote for that party because of the whole pro-life stance. That is the carrot on the stick that both parties need. At the end of the day, Jesus was a non-judgmental person that advocated for charity, not for riches. And I'm sorry, the more charitable party by far, and again, this is not an endorsement of the Democrats, but it is the Democrats. The Republicans are more the me party. And also, not to mention, which party has the satanic symbol for their logo? That's right, the GOP does, a downwards pointed, five-pointing star, which is a satanic symbol since 1968, the year of years, by the way. And what else does the Republican Party have in common with Satanism? Oh, well, Trump. He runs on MAGA, which is the highest degree of the Church of Satan. And again, you know it's not an accident because, well, we'll get into all the reasons why, but the biggest of all is back when Barack was in office. Barack, which means lightning in Hebrew, like lightning is how Satan comes to earth in Luke 10:18. Obama told the joke on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on the 45th birthday, 45 days from Trump's birthday, that Trump would be the 45th president, Mr. Mega himself. And of course, Ronald Reagan, another Hollywood actor, ran on Mega, and he used to live at address 666. Can you show me any Democrats who ever lived at the address 666? And the best argument a Republican had would be like, well, maybe all this is true, but guess what? Reagan and Trump were Democrats for the majority of their life. Yeah, they sure were. They were Democrats for the majority of their life, but then when they got into politics, they became a Republican because this is two wings of the same bird and all one big show that seems to only be fooling the dumbest of the dumbest. And again, what drives me nuts right now is family duties. I don't think I'm going to be able to go to this conference. I would love to be there speaking to these people. I saw some of you guys in the comments say that maybe we should have a truth seeker rally there and try to wake up these people. Hey, if anybody in this community wants to gather at the Gorge for this Freedom Con, of course, con is short for conference, but again, if I put something together, I wouldn't want to use the word con in the title. As these guys get together for the con man, Trump. But yeah, if anybody really does want to gather there, I can hit you guys up with all my equipment. I can get you guys the big speaker, the microphone, all that. I can get you a backup power device so you can keep that speaker blasting all day if you guys can go out there and drop truth bombs, but you better do a good job. You better bring it like yours truly would. I'll see if there's a way I can get out there. Again, I am in Washington State. The Gorge is a couple-hour drive from me. You know, the leader of this movement also has a church that's about a 2.5-hour drive from me. If you're out there, leader of this church, Mr. McPherson, why don't we have a little debate? Here, let me play what this guy sounds like. Because I mean, if this guy's serious and he's not some paid for disinfo, putting money in his pocket while pretending to be Mr. Jesus, I mean, we got to wake up here. And what you remind me of, Mr. McPherson, is why I left the church as a 12-year-old. And it didn't make me a bad person. It made me a better person. Because now I wasn't doing things so I could get some eternal afterlife in heaven. I was doing the right thing because it was the right thing to do. Because it made life better here on earth. I want to play Mr. McPherson here. And then we'll talk more about how perfect this ritual it is and why it looks like there might be some big GOP money behind Mr. McPherson, just like there is like this little stooge, Nick Shirley, who got all the credit for his Somali daycare fraud when obviously that he was put up to that. Again, if you haven't seen my work on Nick Shirley and the Somali daycare fraud, you should go back and revisit it. Because again, there are a lot of people that got the GOP in their back pocket and they do their bidding to make it look like it's the man on the street trying to bring about this change. Anyway, watch this.
All you gotta do is vote. Second thing is, I think we're in an hour of destiny, to your point. In the 250th year of our nation's founding, we have a once-in-a-lifetime presidency in President Trump. Say what you want. He is bringing about objectively righteous legislation for the church, for religious freedom. I've been with him multiple times in person. He is an objectively good man with a twinkle in his eye, a love for good people. He loves family, loves kids, loves grandkids. He has an intuition towards righteousness, toward objective good and evil that more pastors could grow in. And it's very simple for him. And I think the Lord is using a billionaire businessman from the Bronx to spite religious leaders in the pulpit who've been weak.
For the record, he's from Queens. The Bronx are the Yankees. Queens are the Mets. Orange, like the orange clown, Donald Trump. And we'll talk about what they're doing with the Knicks, too. This total tribute to Satan and Mega, which we've been calling and pounding our pockets with, taking advantage of the rig system. Anyway, everything he's saying just sounds insane to anyone who's awake. It just sounds absolutely insane. And we'll talk about how insane it is and how backwards it is here in just a minute.
I mean, he's very clear. There's right and wrong, isn't there? And boys are boys and girls are girls, and it's wrong when boys beat up girls, right? So let's stop that. And wickedness should be put down. And unrighteousness.
According to Jesus, something that is wrong. Again, for all the Christians that stand out there in front of sports stadiums saying God hates FAGSs and all this, Jesus never once speaks about homosexuality anywhere in the Bible. He speaks multiple times about how a man should never marry a divorced woman. And you would think, obviously, the lesson should be the other way around, that a woman should never marry a divorced man unless, for some reason, there's some allowed contradiction there. But I mean, just how many marriages has Trump been in? How many affairs? Again, it's just, there's so many levels to how impossible it is for somebody who's Christian to support Donald Trump truly egotistical, self-worshiping. Again, the highest tenet of Satanism is to worship yourself, just like the highest degree of the Church of Satan is mega. But yeah, as I figured out as a child, a lot of people in the church are just totally fake, totally fraudulent, and they use the church because it's part of societal's programming to essentially use and abuse other people. And that's why all these corrupt politicians also use the Bible and claim to be Christian. But it's crazy listening to this guy, Mr. McPherson.
Should be eradicated, and criminals should be prosecuted, and the good should be rewarded, and hardworking people should be encouraged. I mean, you just got these simple categories. And you say,
Wait, there's almost no audio on the video? Really? On my levels here, everything is good. Huh. Can you guys hear the video or not? Open up said almost no audio. Sound is booty hole, not audible. What in the world? I don't get why sometimes, I mean, I'm doing it the exact same way. Snap. Ah! The worst thing for a YouTube video is bad audio. Why? Is my audio good? Let me tweak something here. My bad. God, I hate when the audio's messed up. I don't know why it would be off though. I'm doing the exact setup that I do every time when I play videos now. Test. Let me see if for some reason if I change my output to these headphones, if it makes it better. And it's weird because on my end, it's showing all the audio levels are good. All right. Let's do take 2 on this. Let's try again. Let me know if this sounds better.
all you got to do is vote. Second thing is, I think we're in an hour of destiny, to your point. In the 250th year of our nation's founding, we have a once-in-a-lifetime presidency in President Trump. Say what you want. He is bringing about objectively righteous legislation for the church, for religious freedom. I've been with him multiple times in person. He is an objectively good man with a twinkle in his eye, a love for good people. He loves family, loves kids, loves grandkids. He has an intuition towards righteousness, toward objective good and evil that more pastors could grow in. And it's very simple for him. And I think the Lord is using a billionaire businessman from the Bronx to spite religious leaders in the pulpit who've been weak. I mean, he's very clear. There's right and wrong, isn't there? And boys are boys and girls are girls, and it's wrong when boys beat up girls, right? So let's stop that. And wickedness should be put down, and unrighteousness should be eradicated, and criminals should be prosecuted, and the good should be rewarded, and hardworking people should be encouraged. I mean, he just got these simple categories, and if you say you're going to kill Americans and then you're building a bomb, it's not a question of if, but, you know, he said, we were with him a couple weeks ago, he said, if Iran got a nuclear weapon, which they were close to getting, he said it was not a question of if they would use it. The only question was, would they use it in the first hour or the first day against everyone, not just Israel and America, but anyone, because but they've demonstrably pointed out America. The point is, we're in this window of destiny. 250 years after we were founded, we're here again at a flashpoint, as you have said. It took great men to found this nation. It will require great men again to rise and salvage and save and spare and preserve this nation. And this might be the harder play. And this is what I want men to hear. When you've never had freedom and you long for it, you're motivated. But when you've had it and it's caused you to grow apathetic, and then you aren't paying attention to the fact that it's being eroded, you feel like you may have more to lose. The founder's like, I got nothing to lose. You know, it's all or nothing. Now we're like, well, if we just, just kiss the ring, not a big a deal. Go look at George Washington's Mount Vernon.
See, just listening to this is insane to me. I understand the point he's making, that, you got it too good, you grow weak and lazy, just like rich kids. A lot of rich kids are weak and lazy because they're so spoiled. but he's talking about how freedom is being eroded. What party is doing a lot more erosion of freedom? Because as I recall, 9/11 happened while the Republicans were in power, and then they passed the Patriot Act, which was 40 years worth of failed legislation that could never see the light of day because it was so un-American, where almost every single bill was authored by a Republican that was crammed into that one big old bill called the Patriot Act. So pretty much that was almost an entirely Republican piece of legislation that was about undermining America and freedom and building a police surveillance state. So that was the Republican Party. This guy is advocating for more Republicans in office. Who was in power when Cooties 19 happened, a total scam? The Republicans were. So what are we talking about? Now, again, the Democrats aren't going to make anything better because we know what the Democrats are. Democrats come back into power in 2008 after 9/11 and all the needless war that was all based on lies and misinformation that came from the Republican Party. But then here comes the Democrats. They get the Oval Office, they get the House, they get the Senate. And what do? Oh, they escalate the wars. They escalate the spending. They escalate the drone bombings. Cooties 19 happens under Republicans. What happens when Democrats come into office after Cooties 19? They continue on the exact same policies. So, again, where is your argument based in reality that if we bring in Republicans, they're not going to erode freedom? When Trump took office, the next day, Larry Ellison stood behind Trump after getting all these billions of dollars for AI. And Larry Ellison, just a few months earlier in September at the Oracle press conference, said that he has this vision of a future America where everyone's required to wear a camera so that AI can have all things under surveillance to ensure that everybody's on their best behavior. Does that sound like freedom? Being watched at all times by all things? I mean, we're already almost there even without wearing cameras, the thing in our pocket, the smartphone. It's not too far off from that already. But what are we talking about here? I mean, but this is what politics is, right? Politics, religion, it's duping people into nonsense that does not serve their interests in any way, shape, or form. It's like when we were in Buffalo to educate about what happened with the top shooting, why that happened on the 74th birthday of Israel and was blamed on a white supremacist when, of course, the religious texts that most people know have been totally whitewashed. Just like how every speaker at this conference is white and claiming we need more white Jesus. Again, the physical description of Jesus in the Bible isn't that of a white man. Dark skin, hair like wool, that's not white. But anyway. Yeah, let's just continue on with this guy, because this guy's not that far from me. I almost just want to show up and interrupt a church session. I wish I could for a month just not have a child and be able to do what I need to do, but yeah, fatherly duties call over here. So again, if there are people in this community that want to go out and rally and get some knowledge out and confront these people in their tracks and maybe get them to think twice, let me know, because I will get you guys the audio equipment to have a nice big booming voice on the streets where it's needed. All right, here we'll continue with Pastor Josh McPherson of Wenatchee, Washington.
That man had something to lose. All he had to do was kiss the ring, pay a few more taxes, not a big deal. And he's like, no, I will be a free man.
There you go.
Because that's my birthright.
Yes.
As a son of God made in his image.
Yes.
And we need that kind of founding spirit to rise again in the heart of men across America.
First principles matter.
Yeah. It's like, I will stand on principle.
Yes.
This is my birthright as a son of God, as a man born in the image of God, and I will patiently, lovingly, firmly, courageously, and increasingly aggressively demand
There you go.
my rights.
Yes.
Because
He's going to demand his rights by voting for Republicans who've been taking them all away. And again, the Democrats aren't. Again, I'm not arguing for the Democrats. I'm just saying it's very obvious which party is worse, and it is obvious which one's worse. I know whatever they say, tranny daycare and all this crap. I know that all that is kind of weirdo mode, and we know what that agenda is about too. But again, we are talking about the lesser of two evils, and I'll tell you which one's less evil: the Democrats. Hold on, I got to answer this question here. It's a good question. White Runts 23 says, Zach, do you think there is a problem with the system, or is it people causing self-inflicted wounds? Asking because you speak from both sides of your tongue. I don't know what you mean by that second sentence, but to answer your question, obviously there's inherent problems with the system, right? The system is the biggest problem because it takes us from the cradle to the grave. It indoctrinates the minds of the masses. It makes dumb, weak people on all levels. Religion's a major component of this. Religion from a young age is this big piece of fear instilled in your brain that you got to believe in this story from the authorities or else there's going to be consequences. And realize religion and government are essentially one and the same. The original government was the church over there in Europe, which is what the founders over here were trying to escape, thus separation of church and state, which these guys who are claiming to be patriots are saying, no, we don't need that anymore. We need theocracy. Okay. So you want to take us back to Rome? But yeah, the system is obviously bad. The system's evil. It's meant to control you from a young age. And you see what happens in this society. Only the courageous people, the brave people, the most intelligent people are able to break free of the mind control. And don't forget what government means. Govern means to control. Ment means the mind in Latin. Government is literally mind control, and should be obvious that's what it is, because look at the average American who went to 13 years of slave school, pledging to 13 stripes, getting beat down by all the numerology rituals their whole life by this cabal that works by this numerology code. As we'll get to, they're having this rally of white Christians 60 days after Trump read from the Bible on Rome's birthday. Again, it's going to be 60 days later. Remember, Trump was selling his 60-page Bible. Of course, Trump won the 60th U.S. presidential election. And don't forget, his ex-wife died and fell down the stairs the same day that he said he'd run in the 60th election, which was exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Ignatian year. And we'll get to this stronger man thing that this guy's the leader of, because look at that logo in the background. Isn't it interesting how the Jesuit color scheme's black and red? We're going to get to stronger man and those pesky Jesuits that are behind so much. As far as I know, this guy's not Catholic, but remember, the Jesuits infiltrate all things. Of course, Trump's Jesuit educated, as was Biden, and of course, that's the thing that runs this nation's capital. That's why the capital's in D.C., where the Jesuits moved it to. That was once called Rome on the Potomac. But, yeah, the system is the biggest problem. And then is it also people's fault? Of course it is. Of course it is. Because so few people lack courage. So few people are brave. So few people are willing to go against the herd. So few people are willing to bear the scrutiny of speaking against the tyranny because they know they're going to get berated by their friends, family, and neighbors, their classmates, and everyone else they know. Someone like yours truly, been speaking out since he was 18 years old when 9/11 happened in 2001. And for all you guys to say, I don't know how you get out there and speak on the street. I don't know where you got that courage from. Well, it didn't come overnight. It came from doing this for 20-some years. That's where it came from. And the reason I can speak for 8 hours straight on the street is because I've been paying attention the whole time. I've been doing what every other man in this country should have been doing. And I haven't been doing it so that I can earn my eternal place in the afterworld, which, hey, don't get me wrong, that sounds awesome. I'd love to go to some beautiful afterworld of, something much better. Sounds great, but that's not what makes me want to go out and do the right thing. What makes me want to go out and do the right thing is so that we can live in a better world, so that children don't have to grow up in a worse and worse world that declines with each passing year. The same things I've been saying over and over the whole time I've been here. And again, the thing with most Christians to me is they're like, this guy sounds insane to me. What is he saying that's true? He's not saying anything that's true. Trump's a good guy with a nice twinkle in his eye. He's a righteous man from the Bronx. He's not even from the Bronx. He's from Queens. Get it right, buddy. That's why he came out to Queen. We are the champions. Sync with Queen Elizabeth at the GOP convention on the 18th of July, 187 days from Inauguration Day. And we'll get to the 187 thing because it's all over here with this gathering of white Christian men to advocate for theocracy in America. So anyway, let's listen to this guy a little bit more, and then I'll show you just how perfect all this is.
Because if my rights cave, everyone else loses theirs too. So in one sense, we stand up as stronger men, not for our rights, but for the right.
I mean, this guy's saying we need Trump. Isn't that what happened in 2020 under the leadership of Trump? We went for the corona, which was coined as seasonal flu in 1968. He was at the World Health Organization gloating about how the world will never be the same again after his trade with China, his trade deal with China. Go back and listen to it. Trump began speaking at 11:47 a.m. local time at the World Economic Forum, January 21st, the same day the headlines broke that, well, lo and behold, the first case of China virus is in the U.S. in Bill Gates' backyard, the same state that this man and myself occupy. We're out here in Washington State. What do we just think all this stuff's a coincidence? Remember, I was at the QAnon rally April 19, 2020 to wake those people up, and I did wake those people up, but then I had armed security trying to bully me off the premises because they saw I was having an impact on their QAnon audience. I showed them how Gematria works. I showed them that from Trump's birthday to the day of the first case of coronavirus in the U.S., the same day he spoke at the World Economic Forum that simulated the whole virus, I showed them how it was 222 days. And by the way, you guys, if you're new here, I am also an author. I have a book with all this information and more. You can check it out. This well-reviewed book that could have saved the whole damn world. This book, you know, you guys, it nailed everything. Exactly what was going to come out of the scamdemic, when it would end, everything. And I put it out early in 2020. Could have saved a lot of lives. And it did save lives. It just should have saved a lot more lives because a lot more people should have been promoting it rather than bullshit stuff like religion and Trumpism. Unbelievable. But yeah, in Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, which you have to learn. And see, this is the problem with Christianity too. So many Christians go, I can't study this. This is demonic. This is evil. We're supposed to stay away from this stuff. Again, I'm not telling you to practice this. I'm telling you to learn it so you can see how your enemy operates. So you can see how Puppet Trump operates and Puppet Biden and Puppet Obama and every last one of these puppets up on the federal government stage. Again, there is a new world order. It is Kabbalistic. By the way, Trump wrote in his book that he had a Kabbalah teacher, so don't think Trump's not familiar with this stuff. But yeah, 222 days after Trump's birthday, he just happens to be at the World Economic Forum saying the world will never be the same again after my trade deal with China. What all equals 222 since it was 222 days from Trump's birthday? Wuhan coronavirus equals 222. World Economic Forum equals 222. New York equals 222. Why does that matter? Well, Trump is a New York guy, but more importantly, the World Economic Forum simulated the coronavirus pandemic on the day of the Military World Games, October 18th, 2019, in New York. And by the way, 10:18, isn't that like Luke 10:18 where Satan comes to earth going with this whole mega thing? All the 666. Don't forget the first coronavirus simulation was May 15th, 2018. Merc Aurelius, 666 days before the pandemic was declared. And of course, Trump declared Operation Warp Speed 2 years to the day. All roads leading to Rome. Mercury the trickster. Mercury, that thing in the shots that Google took down all the videos of in 2012. All the parents voicing their concern about Mercury and what happened to their children when they got that MMR, Jenny McCarthy and beyond. Don't forget, Google celebrates their birthday on September 27th, the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by the Roman Catholic Church. But yeah, again, 222 days after Trump's birthday, he just happens to be at the place in Switzerland where the pandemic was declared out of, where all the big bankers are, where Trump signed off on all that stimulus money, trillions of dollars, which is what has destroyed the dollar, along with what Biden did when he came in and continuing the same policies, printing all this money to keep the corporate system, the banking system afloat, the taxpayer. And again, realize, I mean, for the corporations at the end of the day, the inflation doesn't hurt them as much because it keeps all their asset values high. But for the common man who has no savings and debt, now they can't afford anything. Their debt's even worse because the interest rates are higher and they're even having to pay more interest. Again, you guys, we live in this system that both political parties serve. But yeah, so again, long-winded to answer the question, yeah, it's the system, definitely, but it's also the people who are not courageous enough to stand against it. And you look at the average person, they'll bitch and complain about things all day, but then they won't actually do anything about it. And then they want other people to solve their problems, whether it's a fairy tale from the sky, which is what these guys are going to get together and ask for. We need more of fairy tale man from the sky story and Republicans. That's what we need here to solve our problems. Again, when you don't listen, like I've always said the same analogy. The house is on fire. If your country, if you can look at your country as a house for an analogy, it's been on fire for a long time. And, you know, if you're in a big old house, right, and you're in a room that's away from the fire, that fire might be able to burn for a long time and you're okay in your room. but eventually the fire reaches your room, and now you're going, whoa, what is happening? Well, what's happening is you didn't put out the fire, and it finally reached you, and that's what you see all over social media these days with everyone going, I can't live anymore. I can't afford to live. Hey, it already happened to a lot of people. More and more people are getting eaten up by this system. It's finally just getting so devastating, everything going on because of all this corruption that, again, I mean, hey, take it from me, somebody who's spoken out against the corruption, the corporate system, the two wings of the same bird, totally bought and paid for political party. All I've been greeted with from my fellow man is insults towards me. And also, when people who didn't insult me, they'd say, yeah, Zach, you might be right, but there's nothing we can do about any of this. This idea that we're powerless and we can't do anything against this corrupt system. And to me, that was always BS, because this system didn't always exist. If it didn't always exist, that means it wasn't always here. It got here for a reason. It can also be diminished for the right reasons. Everyone stands against it. The one thing that I got to give credit to for this Freedom Con is they are calling for action, right? They're calling for action. But here, if you listen, I don't think it's in this video because I've watched a few of these videos now. He says somewhere along the way, he goes, the only thing we can do is vote. That's the only way we can solve our problems with voting. He said, violence will never be the action. Now, that is what a Christian should say. Violence should never be the action, because that is also part of why Christianity was given to you by the authorities. It's the perfect religion for controlling slaves. And by the way, Christianity tolerates slavery. As we all know, Ephesians 6, slaves obey your masters. But yeah, again, if you can't be violent, trust me, you're never really going to defeat this evil. You could defeat him on certain levels, and if everybody abstained from this, if everyone stopped paying taxes, stopped supporting these corporations, didn't go along with the BS policies when they come along, like putting on a mask and getting a clot shot, not sending your children off to the next needless war, et cetera, et cetera. If people would refrain from participating in the crap, that would sort of defeat the cabal, but they'd still be here, wouldn't they? There'd still be some kind of righteous justice needed for these people, like them hanging from the tree, which is an act of violence, an execution squad, lining them all up against the wall, and pooh, adios. Again, we go to 13 years of slave school, and we learned about how it was a violent revolution that got us free of the redcoats. But now, somehow in 2026, violence could never be the solution. I thought that's how the whole country came into being. Not to mention the other violent part with Manifest Destiny, where we killed all the brown people because they didn't have Bibles, right? God forbid these brown people that have no Bibles, get rid of them. They don't have gunpowder either. They're easy to kill. Christopher Columbus journaled about how easy it was to kill the men and take the women and have his way with them. And we celebrate him too, don't we? Celebrate Columbus Day in this nation. Unbelievable. RAPIST. Oh, just like Trump, who this Christian guy's advocating for. Anyway, let's and don't tell me Trump's not one. I mean, he told Billy Bush he is. He says he's, because of his celebrity, he can just go up and grab a woman by the pussy. I mean, that's like that's an assault right there. But we know that's also kind of the way the world is, and some women do get turned on by that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong. I understand both sides of the field, but I'm just saying that's not a thing a good man does. A good man doesn't just go up and grab a woman by her genitals because he can. I mean, come on, man. That's definitely not Christian. That's not Christian at all. When he's talking about Billy Bush, he's talking about he doesn't even care if the woman's married or anything. I mean, this is your Christian guy that we need. We need the Christian guy who will just go have his way with any woman, and he's got so much money he can buy a new sofa for every single one he wants to bang out. I got to go to a McPherson sermon. Is it like that? Go home, men. Find that cutie. If you can afford the new sofa, seduce her. Tell her you can be the first one to experience me on my new sofa. This is the Church of McPherson. All right, let's listen a little bit more, and then let's decode this.
Rights of those who may not be able to stand up for themselves. And there's the nobility. What we're calling men into is to stand for the rights that God gave us and that our founders recognized and enshrined in our Constitution that we are in the process of losing. I'll say it different. We're in the process of...
Yeah, we're in the process of losing, largely because of Republican legislation and their leadership. Are you serious, buddy? Come on, man.
Surrendering.
There you go.
And so if you're living in a red state, my encouragement to you is I'm happy for you. Enjoy the cheap gas. Enjoy the low property taxes. But two things. Craziness is already there. You may not see it. And craziness is coming, even if you're not aware of it. And Adam and I are from the future. We're from your future. If you don't stand up, speak up, and get involved. So for those in the red states that have good, godly, righteous policies, and even those are eroding, you got to hold your ground. For those in blue states, you got to wake up and get a playbook. So we're inviting men from all states. If you're a red state, come up here into the breach with us, the stronghold of our nation, that is Washington State, and pray for us, worship Jesus here, bring the Spirit of God here, cheer us on, hear from incredible speakers, step into the breach, do the whole thing. If you're from a blue state, show up, and we're going to give you the playbook that we're trying to run in our state that you could run in your state to flip it. For liberty and justice, we'll get in that next podcast. Men running and going into politics, we'll get into that next podcast. We're going to give you a playbook that you could run as a churchman, as a pastor, as a statesman. And then lastly, this idea of statesman that I am excited to unpack. We talk about being a family man a lot. We talk about being a businessman a lot. We talk about being a churchman a lot. What I have not talked about as much, but whether it's a season of life thing or just whatever, is the season of statesman. And I believe that the season of statesman and the role of statesmanship is the culminating role of a man who's successfully gone through the first three. He's become a family man. He's become a successful businessman. He's been a faithful churchman. And now, in order to preserve those first three, he becomes the fourth role, which is statesman. We need our sons to have an eye towards being statesmen because of—
Okay. I'm just going to stop it here because if you listen to his talking points, he'll point out that it's a very small amount of votes that are needed to turn Washington red based on the data that comes out after the elections. Now, the problem with that is, again, the data is all bullshit. Understanding the truth about the data is why we were able to call Trump returning to office in the 2024 election while the country was 248 years old. And again, people can doubt this knowledge all they want, but President Donald Trump equals 248. Go back and look in 2016 when the election was first called for Trump. It was called while he was on 248 electoral college votes. 248. Remember the mugshot on 24/8, the 24th of August, en route to the 2024 election? All of this stuff is major ritual. And again, they do that stuff to polarize the nation because now people who don't like Trump are like, God, this guy's a real criminal and he might be back in office. And then other people are like, yeah, the system is trying to take down Trump, but he's going to win. He's going to win anyway. Woo! It's all a show by this Kabbalistic code of ABC is 1, 2, 3. All of this data they put out is bullshit. It's bullshit. He says if there were 40,000 more people voting Republican in Washington State, the whole state would be red. No, it wouldn't. You could probably get 500,000 more people to vote Republican in Washington State, and it would still be blue for as long as they want it to be blue. Everyone knows the quote, it doesn't matter who votes, it only matters who counts the votes. All of our elections are rigged, and it's so obvious. Speaking of the Republican Party, they're the true party. You see how Yale's 43, just like Colorado? Who was the 43rd president? Wasn't it George W. Bush, whose daddy was the 43rd vice president when the state came down? I wrote Colorado. Sorry, I don't know why I wrote Colorado. Sleepy. Florida's 43 like Colorado, just for the record. But the election of Bush came down to Florida, where his brother was literally the 43rd governor, Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush, let's just pull up his wiki page here. Jeb Bush was the 43rd governor of Florida. The 2000 election came down to Florida. And not to mention, I'm sure that guy was still living out in Washington State. You can tell he's older than me. I was a senior in high school the year of the 2000 election. They told us for months that it was going to come down to Florida. And I remember debating with my teacher all the time. I said, if they know months in advance it's coming down to Florida, what's even the point of voting? And then sure enough, it came down to Florida. And at first it was called for Gore, and then it was called for Bush, while his brother was the 43rd governor. And then all of a sudden, he's number 43, the Yale grad, whose daddy was also the 43rd vice president. And don't forget, his daddy was also the 41st president. They're both in Skull and Bones, which equals 41. And his dad's birthday is the day leaving 202 days left in the year. And George W. Bush's birthday is 7/6. And the Georgia Guidestones came down on his 76th birthday on 7/6, a monument, no doubt, put up by that same Order 322 on March 22nd, pledging depopulation. And again, both of these parties do things to bring about the depopulation agenda. By the way, I will be dropping the link for people to get in here. It is a pinned comment. Pigo, if you want to get in here in just a few minutes, I will be taking callers. I have to go through this But I'd like to hear what Pigo has to say. Wake up, America. Thank you for supporting the work. I got to learn to be funny and more of a comedic entertainer, because that's what people support, right? Just me reading about the booty hole sound made this guy throw in a $10 super chat, which I appreciate. But I wish more of you guys appreciated the grind, the hard work I put in, the time it takes to make these posts, the fact that I'm up early, up late every night, been doing this for 13 years straight for almost no real appreciation in terms of the way it should get, being deleted 25 times, being shadow banned, but not stopping anyway. I wish more people supported this actual work I do. And understand, you guys, I'm doing quite well. I'm doing a lot better than almost everybody in this country, but it's not because of this news and the important work I do. It's because of the fact that I help people sports gamble, which we do win, and we had a very glorious day yesterday, but I don't win at the same rate I used to 5 years ago because the game's changed. The people are catching on to what we've caught on to. Again, I wish more people supported the more righteous thing I do, which is expose this evil. Because if that were the case, it'd be easier for me to justify the sweet lady getting out and getting to events. She knows that she saw what happened when I traveled to New York, went on that 2-week trip. She saw my financial support get cut directly in half. She's like, look at that. You just worked your ass off. You didn't sleep for 2 straight weeks. You went city to city, and now you make half the income you did before you left. Again, I really do wish more people would support this. But again, I'm a broken record. I don't know why I'm asking at this point. It's 2026. Anyway, Janice said, she gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Janice. Very nice of you. And AJK hit us with a $5 super sticker. That's a lot better than we normally do. Thank you. Anyway, let's look at what's going on here with Freedom Con in light of what I've been educating about the nonstop 60 rituals with Donald Trump that led us up to the 60th presidential election. And it was a big part of the reason we said Donald Trump would win number 60. You guys, if I had to sit here and talk about all the 60 rituals we've documented over the last, 5.5 years, I mean, we'd be going for 48 hours straight at least. It would be without even taking a breath, 48 hours of information. But again, I just want to remind about some of the big ones. But look at it, you guys. Trump read from the Bible on Rome's birthday. Rome was a theocracy. These people are advocating for Rome. And should it be a surprise that we're getting here? Again, the Jesuits hijacked this nation a long time ago, and they're slowly inching us more and more to where they want us to be, the Holy Roman Empire. But look at this. Trump reads on Rome's birthday, and don't forget Pope Francis died last year. And by the way, if you guys are new here, I'm going to be talking about Gematria. Pope Francis, his birth name was Jorge Mario Bergoglio, right? He was the first Jesuit pope. You can see his birth name equals 201, like the Jesuit order, like Ignatius Loyola, like Aloysius de Gonzaga for other Washingtonians. Of course, that's Gonzaga University, Jesuit school who it's named after. Seattle U's had plenty of 201 rituals over the year. We got 2 Jesuit schools up here in Washington State. There's only 27 remaining in the nation, but 2 are in this state, which isn't even that big in population. Other states that have 2 Jesuit universities, California and New York. And we can understand why, mega populations. But yeah, Washington State has 2. Don't forget how they killed Elgin Baylor, who went to Seattle U at 86 days before Gonzaga lost to Baylor with 86 points. And just for the record, that was the 82nd March Madness, and it was the first one after Cootie's 19 when Aloysius de Gonzaga in history died from flu. Again, the point I'm making is learn this knowledge. You'll see how rigged the game is. But yeah, Pope Francis was Mr. 201, which is this huge number with the Jesuits who did simulate the coronavirus pandemic with Event 201. Pope Francis was named after St. Francis of Assisi. He died 201 days after the death anniversary of St. Francis of Assisi. He died on Rome's birthday, April 21st, the 111th day of the year. Trump supposedly got 312 electoral college votes, which is the Chicago area code, defeating Kamala, who had the DNC in Chicago, but also going with Oprah, asking Trump in 88 if he'd want to be president someday, Oprah out of Chicago. So Trump gets 312 electoral college votes, and then the Pope dies at 88 on the 312th day of Trump's age. Trump's 88. We'll come back to the 88, remember, and you can see Trump's 47. Again, Trump retakes office in 25. He's going to leave office in 2029, assuming he makes it. But yeah, if you're new here, these are the 4 base ciphers of the English language. The alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. So Pope Francis, 201 days after who he's named after. His death anniversary, he's dead. On Rome's birthday, the 111th day of the year, dead. On the 312th day of Trump's age, who's also Jesuit educated, just like Pope Francis, who was the first Jesuit pope. And then the 105, well, Pope Francis, he lived in Suite 201 at the Vatican, which was named after the last Pope Leo. Or I should say, it was in a room that was renovated that used to be the old hospital for Pope Leo. And then we get, again, Pope Leo, the first American Pope from Chicago, the 312. But notice Pope Leo's 105. You might recall last year his school, Villanova. By the way, his Nova Knicks are in the finals by the numbers synced up with the Pope. Pope Leo, 105. When that Villanova shooting hoax happened last year, and they said it was a hoax. At first it was reported as a real shooting, and then later said it was a hoax. It was 105 days into his papacy and 24 days from his birthday when that happened, just for the record. But yeah, these are the 4 base ciphers. You learn this system, you see through the ritualism. And Trump has this big 60 connection. And all these numbers up here are important to Trump, but we're just going to stay with the 60 for this one. Mr. Winner of the 60th election. So from Trump reading from the Bible to the last day of this Republicans for Jesus theocracy in America, it's going to end June 20th. It goes June 19th and June 20th. June 19th would be a span of 60 days. June 20th would be 60 days after. And you know what? June 20th would also be a span of 61 days, which does fit. Christian is 61. You know, Christmas is 61. Jesus is 61. Church is 61, cross is 61, and if you're wondering how all those 61s can be possible, it's because the language was designed by the Catholic Church and synced up with the calendar. 61 represents God in sacred geometry, and this practice of coding numbers into words, gematria means geometry in language. And by the way, this nation's capital, not by accident, you know, it has that 61 encoded too. So anyway, 60 days after Trump reads from the Bible, this thing's going to end. In Washington State, where's my screenshot? Did it not get in here? I guess I forgot to put a screenshot in here. You know, Washington State won Super Bowl 60 by the numbers, right? Washington State 60. 60 is the 42nd composite number, 42 points. The head coach was hired on Jackie Robinson's birthday anniversary. It was the 29-13 was the score. In case you missed all the work on the Super Bowl, remember, we call Seattle the 19 city, thus the first case of COVID-19 in Seattle. But Seattle improved to 19-19 in the postseason, exactly 19 weeks after the Pope's birthday, Pope Leo, in the conference championship. We called all this out before the playoffs even started. And then they were up 19-0 in the Super Bowl. Not an accident. Not an accident at all. All rigged games, all roads lead to Rome. So, and you know, it is kind of interesting how they're going to start on June 19th because they really are targeting Seattle. They want to flip Seattle. If you listen to what these people are talking about, good luck with that. Anyway, learn this code, see through the rig, and also see through all the ritual sacrifices that go with these rigged games that a lot of Christian men are going to. So yeah, in Washington State, who just won Super Bowl 60 days after Trump reads from the Bible, this. And in case you didn't know, the 2024 election was the 60th. Now you do. It was the 60th quadrennial election. Trump sold $60 Bibles, one of a million 60 rituals. Something we called out in a major way. You know, I felt super confident about my Trump prediction when this happened, as sad as it is to say. The same day that Trump said he would run for the 60th U.S. presidential election, it was his informal announcement that he was going to run. And up to this point, you guys, they're like, Trump's not even going to run in the election, Zach. He's starting to have criminal problems. Like, yeah, all that's part of the show. But we were talking about this the day she died. They ended up burying her on the 201st day of the year, July 20th. And don't forget, Joe Biden sacrificed Beau Biden at 46, 201 days before Pope Francis's birthday. And again, the same Jesuit priest, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, did the funeral for Beau Biden and did the inauguration for Joe Biden. And by the way, Inauguration Day, since it was moved to 20/1, the 20th of January, that is the 201st day of the nation's age. Not to mention, if you go to the government website, the day is called Inauguration of the President of the United States. And this is all evidence of how rigged the system is. Again, the Catholic Church is responsible for the language in the calendar. They're responsible for the nation's capital being in D.C. They're responsible for Inauguration Day being this day. And this is why Trump had to bury his ex-wife. And by the way, they had their first child together on the 201st day of Trump's age, Donald Jr. But, and by the way, Donald Jr. just got remarried in a 201 ritual just the other day. Anyway, Anyway, coming back. Ivana, she died exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Ignatian year, which ran more than a typical calendar year. It ended July 31st. And don't forget, they killed a Jesuit-educated Bill Russell on the last day of the Jesuit Ignatian year, shortly after Boston had played and lost to the Warriors in the finals. You might recall the Warriors made Boston 17-5 that year in finals. Golden State won 75, just like Pope Francis. The whole thing was set on the Pope's birthday, the same day that the Warriors won in Boston on the Pope's birthday. They dropped Boston to 7-5 at home. That was the 75th anniversary season, just like how the Niners won the 75th NFL season. And again, all roads lead to Rome. Catholic Church 75, Roman Catholic 75, New World Order 75, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Nation year, the same day Trump said he would run for president, his ex-wife dies. And don't forget, there were also conservatives. Here, right here, I got it linked in this post. Conservatives came out against Trump with a 72-page report based on 60 legal cases. You can see how President Trump, President Biden, Jesuit order, conservative, they're all 72. But let me see. Right here. It was based on 60 court cases against Trump. 60. And remember, all this was going on, you know, the Braggart versus Alvin Bragg, 60. Remember the million indictments with Donald Trump? You see how Alvin Bragg's 48 and 60? Just like indictment. Again, all this stuff a show. And instead of men gathering in the Gorge to advocate for Republicans, and realize, I mean, there's big money in politics and there's big money in religion, right? And religion's the one thing that doesn't have to pay taxes. There's so much money in this. That's how they can rent the amphitheater at the Gorge and host this event. Could yours truly rent the Gorge? I'd probably have to sell everything I own to rent the amphitheater at the Gorge. And then who would show up? Almost no one, because we're shadow banned now and we can't even reach anybody. But yeah, again, you guys, this is what you think a Christian man's doing, sacrificing his wife. What, you think Joe Biden's a Christian man, sacrificing his son, et cetera, et cetera? No, these people are satanic. They're satanic. But all of this stuff is so perfect. All of it's so perfect. Trump selling French fries to mock Kamala on her 60th birthday. Do you remember this? Just so you guys can understand what a joke all this is. Donald Trump. I see Piggo's in the back. Piggo, I'm going to get with you in just a second. Again, on Kamala's 60th birthday, going, oh, I don't see any proof that she sold French fries, but look at it, you guys. It's all a joke. French fries 60, Golden Arches 60, Donald Trump 60. By the way, have you seen the movie The Founder with Michael Keaton about, oh snap, my daughter's getting up. Hold on. Yeah. Again, there was a lot to this. Remember, we told you who was going to get a sack that same night in the Steelers game? Big McDonald, Big Mac. I told you he was going to have a sack that night, and sure enough, he had a sack that night because Trump went to the Steelers game right after he said he's going to impose a bunch of steel tariffs. But yeah, hold on, my daughter's getting up. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to get Piggo in here and whoever else wants to participate as long as my daughter's good with it. I'll be right back. Okay, so again, I just want to remind people the GOP did change its logo to these inverted five-pointed stars, which has been a satanic symbol since 1968. If you didn't know it, look it up. It's funny how Donald John Trump equals 68. And again, MAGA is the fifth and highest degree of the Church of Satan. And notice, this is going to happen right after Trump turns 80 years old. Satan equals 80, like Baphomet the leader of this rally, saying that, Trump's this great Christian man, runs the Grace City Church 80. Right now, we're in the 80th NBA season. The Knicks are in their 80th season. The Knicks, you guys, were up 60 points on the Church of Satan's 60th birthday. By the way, the Church of Satan just turned 60. The Knicks were up 60 with ref 60 work in the game. We saw this coming a mile away. The Knicks became 214 and 214 on the Church of Satan's 60th birthday and their all-time postseason record. They still haven't lost a game. They're on an 11-game winning streak right now. Beast has that. They were on a 10-game winning streak, also like Satan. But they're on an 11-game winning streak. Remember, they won game 1 by 11 over the Cavs. Last year, the Cavs started 8-0 the day before the election. Grover Cleveland 80. Trump first split-term president since Grover Cleveland, who had his 2016 convention in Cleveland. But yeah, anyway, what are the odds of all this? And then he runs the Stronger Man thing. Look at the overlap with Stronger Man and Jesuit Order and Mark of the Beast. Not to mention that he uses the red and black color scheme, just like the Jesuits. This rallies in Gorge, Washington, which is where the Gorge Amphitheater is. Look at Holy Roman Empire and Gorge, Washington. I mean, give me a break. All right, Pigo, I'm going to switch around my audio settings real quick so I can hear you without headphones because I got my daughter here. Let me do this. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to go mute for a second. All right, we should be good. Pigo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me, dude?
Yeah, let me turn this off too. I think it's messing something up. I did hear you. I just want to make sure that they hear you too. Okay, we should be totally good now. All right. I think we're good. Can the chat hear me and Pigo just fine?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pigo. I think we're good.
Yeah, what you said right now about the Freedom Con, the red and black, that reminds me of like the New World Order when they had the red and black attack, when they became the Wolfpack. But I digress. What I wanted to tell you is we wrote a note on that. Like I actually wrote about it because I heard you talk about it. And what I discovered is, you know how Trump is like saying, oh, private equity can't, buy real estate. What these churches are, what these people are doing is Christian expansionism through real estate. So they can buy up properties and they can expand their footprint locally and choke off, different supply chains. And they can become landlords through the church, which historically happened during the Dark Ages. And that's one thing I noticed with these people. They're all into real estate, like largely, and like looking to build up on their empire and localize it. And then also what's supposed to happen on Trump's birthday, besides like the whole UFC fight, is they're talking about bombing Honduras, Nicaragua, and Mexico. Guatemala just signed a joint accord with the United States and Ecuador. And Ecuador is where the House of Borgia is continuing. And the House of Borgia, as you know, was a papacy. That was like where Caesar Borgia, who's the white Jesus Christ, served. He was the Gallivanter for the church, which was the Jesuits before the Jesuits. So the House of Borgia is still in Ecuador, and they are a part of what they want to do in terms of reforming the North American continent into this Christian technate. And
Pigo, do you have a presentation you could put up on the screen on this? I'm interested in it.
Well, it's on my Substack, dude. It's all right there. But we have two notes on the.
You can get more people to your Substack. Do you know how to share your screen?
Dude, I'm driving right now.
You're driving. Oh, okay. Go ahead. We're listening.
So yeah, so the House of Borgia is still in Ecuador ruling, and like, what they did essentially is they wanted to guard off like all the women and like do all this wild like partying and all that stuff while everybody was a serf. So what this whole Freedom Con thing is just real estate expansionism through the church, because you're going to cry and complain about, like buying a property block, but you're not going to do it if it's in the name of the good Lord. And they don't have to pay taxes on this. You just pay them. It's like paying a penance. And it could be claimed as charity work. And then you get into the new apostolic reform from where Trump's spiritual advisor. She talks about the 7 mountains where they have to control all these different aspects, and that is literally an extension of that. The
Hey,
seven
do you
mountains.
have about 4 minutes of information at least to share while I get this one a little food? I saw he was going.
That's what I was talking.
Can you share information intel for 4 minutes?
You should let somebody else take over the helm. I don't think I got 4 minutes of info.
Well, I got Congo Bongo in the back if he can help. I got to get a little food in this one's mouth. She woke up hungry.
Sounds good.
Congo Bongo, Congo Bongo, you got to unmute. He's muted. You see where that little, there you go, boom.
Is on?
Yeah.
All right. I was going to ask you if you ever read The Jesuits in Paraguay.
I'm not familiar. Tell me what you know.
Okay, I just Googled it right now. I read the book years ago, but it says the Jesuits in Paraguay established a network of 30 autonomous indigenous communities alongside the Guarani people in the 17th and 18th centuries, designed to convert the Guarani to Christianity while shielding them from enslavement, brutal labor system. These utopian settlements flourished economically and culturally. But the problem was, what the Jesuits did was they completely took them away from their indigenous, what would I say, religion or culture, and made it into where they were like working like 9 to 5s, like all this type of stuff. It's weird as fuck. It was like a project that they did in Paraguay. So strange. If you look at it, you'll be like, what the hell?
I think that's similar to what they've done all over the world. Yeah, they work by infiltration. They're a sneaky group, and that's why even this guy right here, who's claiming to be Protestant, he looks like he really could be doing the Jesuits' bidding.
Right, strange as hell. It's very strange. Yeah,
they're sneaky. The Jesuits are about the smartest thing there ever was. That's why they've dominated the world.
Right. It says the Jesuit presence, which shaped much of modern Paraguay's cultural and social fabric, can be traced through several well-preserved historical sites. Jesuit missions of La Santamina, Trinidad del Perena, I don't know what that is, established in 1706 and serving as the regional capital. This is the most ambitious and complete mission complex. It houses extensive main plaza, indigenous housing, and large stone. Well, anyway, this is going on about the Jesuits, like how they pretty much infiltrated Paraguay, which is crazy because Paraguay is like way out there. You're like, what? But then you always mention that, DC, they infiltrated DC. That's their stronghold. So I'm like, man, if they were able to do that in DC, I mean, I don't know who was here at the time. I know Native Americans, of course, but crazy. And then you said they followed the founders that came here in Virginia, and then they made it up to DC, which is crazy as hell. So I was just looking at that, like, man, they've been doing this all over the place.
Exactly. And they're good at framing people. There's a reason everybody thinks it's the small hats that run the world, because they allow them to run the news agencies, but they don't decide what's in the headlines. They don't run the intelligence networks. They didn't make the capital DC. And most don't even know what the Jesuits are, and they don't realize that the calendar we're on was implemented by the Jesuits. They don't realize the Jesuits put the final touches on the English language. They don't realize the Jesuits are responsible for almost every damn thing in your science book and everything else. They are quietly just running the show. And again, people know what Jack Ryan is from the movies and the video games. That Jack Ryan character, he's Jesuit educated. He has the quote in the book multiple times. The Jesuits run the world. They're just humble about it.
Yeah, but I don't think they have the power like that. Like, yeah, I know they say they humble about it, and because they run a lot of operations, but I mean, you say you went to the store during COVID, like you told them to shut it down, and it was that easy. You know what I mean? They could.
Exactly. I see what you're saying. You're saying that if we used our actual God-given power, they'd be powerless. I get that, but most people just go along with the lies. They go along with the authority.
Right. I did the same thing over here. I'm over in Atlanta, and I did the same thing. I was maskless, fucking, I didn't do none of that shit. And I got into a little couple battles here and there, but same shit. But I went through it though. I made my point and I got up out of there.
If everybody had been like us, it wouldn't have worked.
Right. For real, yeah. But yeah, that Jesuits in Paraguay, you probably look that one up, man. That's an interesting one.
I'm gonna look that up. I appreciate that example. Great research.
Yeah, definitely. They sneaky, like you say, man. But they made it all the way to DC, and this was before DC was even established. So they've been running these operations, like you said. They've been in the Far East longer than everybody.
They've been doing big things in the world since the 16th century, longer than this country's existed.
Yeah. Did you ever finish that show?
Which show?
The one with the guy runs into the Jesuit guy over there in Japan or something.
I know what you're talking about. No, I haven't had enough time. I know what you're talking about. I wish I.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't finish it either. I watched like 3 episodes. I didn't finish it either. But the Jesuits are already there, and the guy was like shocked that the Jesuits were there. He was like, "What the hell?" What was it? What was it? Shogun? Is it Shogun? Shogun. Yeah, Shogun. Yeah. He the Christian guy was shocked that the Jesuits was there. He was like, "What the hell?" Crazy. Right?
Indeed.
Yeah, I got a 15-month-old too, man. I got a little one too, man. I'm 40 years old too, man. I got a little one.
Oh, you're a grandpa dad also. Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. Right, I'm about to go take the target.
Congo Bongo, you can definitely stay on if you want to share more. Pigo, if you guys want to both share, and I got to make sure this person in the back is not a troll. Who's Saifu? Oh, we'll go eat, sweet girl. Saifu, you there? Oh, I'll come back on him. I'm gonna feed her real quick. She'll be good. Pigo and Congo, I'll be back in 4 minutes. And if you guys don't have anything to share, I'll just 4-minute break, guys. I'll be back.
I'll hold for a couple minutes. How many people listen? I can't see. I'm on StreamYard. I can't really see what's going on, but yeah, if y'all want to check out the
Paraguay.
Say what?
It's interesting that you mentioned Paraguay. I was actually looking into some ancient cities there, like Teletecum and stuff like that, and like the civilization catastrophes that happen. Like, so we live in a cyclical pattern, and during a solar minimum, there was an extensive drought down there, which wiped out most of the population. And this was before the Spanish Inquisition.
You said a drought?
Yeah, super drought.
Like, just wiped out the population?
Yeah.
When was that?
Oh, God. The year was, I believe, 500 BC.
Man, that's ancient time.
Yeah. And then even in America, we had ancient cities like Cahokia, where the population died off. And right now, we're heading into a super El Nino, which means your area of the country is going to be dehydrated. It's going to experience drought. In my area, California, is going to get flooded out.
Why you say that?
It's a pattern. It's a cycle that happens every so often, and like these people know it. Like, I've thought about this. They're building all these data centers in Arizona. Why? Well, if we're getting a super El Nino, there could be no water shortage in Arizona. In fact, we're going to have a water surplus in Arizona, but it's going to cause a lot of damage, probably a lot of mortality because of the excessive rainfall and flooding. So these people understand the cycles, and they understand like everything that's going to occur because they pay attention. And us, we're so distracted with work that we don't pay attention to what's really like going on a macro, just the micro, like, watching whatever we watch on TV or stuff like that.
What's the timeline on the cycles?
Well, the solar minimum takes full effect in 2029, 2030. The Super El Nino will begin November of 2026 this year. And it's like every 100-year cycle, 100-something year cycle for the Super El Nino.
Right. So it's like supposed to be flooding the whole world or just certain places?
It affects the whole world because of the oceans, right? The oceans warm up. Like the Pacific Ocean right now is heating up. And then you also have areas of like different water bodies that are going through hypoxia, which means that they don't have any oxygen. Like if you go on NOAA and you look at the Gulf of America, is what we call it here, I guess. There's hypoxia zones in the Gulf of America where there's no oxygen, meaning life cannot live there. It's completely dead.
I mean, it got to be oxygen everywhere. I don't. How can it be oxygenless? You know what I mean?
Well, it's because of the chemicals that we're releasing into the Gulf of America. It kills it, like the Salton Sea in California. It's going through a bad case of hypoxia and has a lot of salinity. So all the tilapia and fish that live there died. Like it's a dead pool.
That already happened?
Yep, in Salton Sea. You can look up pictures of the Salton Sea and see a bunch of dead fish everywhere. And if you go down there, it reeks because of the lithium and the salinity of it. Like 8 out of 10 water systems in the U.S. currently don't have oxygen in their water or are running low on oxygen, entering hypoxia, which means we're going to go through a severe agricultural struggles, and they're fully aware of this shit. You know?
I mean, I haven't heard no alarm about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't heard no alarm about it. If they're aware about it, shouldn't they be doing something about it?
No, because they tell you about it through code, right? Like when they tell us something, like right now we're watching Ebola and like all these viruses, right? But they've told you before, 2 or 3 years ago, that we're going to go through another pandemic. They tell you the timing we have to figure out. We have to pay attention to what they're doing ritualistically.
Right.
That's where all this comes in, like understanding the code. And if we're going to go through another pandemic, which is highly likely, it's probably going to happen when this World Cup is here. And,
I was thinking that too. I don't want to be the doomsday guy, but I was thinking that too.
Yeah, you guys have it in Atlanta, right? The World Cup. You guys have games there, right?
Yeah, they got a few games. I think it's June, July, or something like that. They got a few games
we
over
have them here. Yeah, we have them here in Los Angeles too, dude. And I think Iran is supposed to play in Los Angeles. So I'm concerned that there's going to be a false flag because like we're at war with Iran, right? Supposedly. And then we're supposed to go to war with Honduras and all these other Latin countries because we're rebuilding the American technate of like theosophical beliefs.
Right. I don't know, man. We can't do doom and gloom though. We can't be doom everything. You know? But I kind of feel that way too. But I think that would be too easy. Like, you know what I mean? Like they did the Olympics. I don't know how old you are, and they had a bombing up here when they had the Olympics back in the 90s, right? I just moved up here like 13 years ago. I'm from Florida, but and then like that was so strange then because my folks lived up here. I was like, damn, they gonna do the damn thing. I thought about it in hindsight later on, like they gonna do a psyop during the Olympics. Like what the hell, like. So I get what you're coming from, though.
Yeah, dude, it's interesting times we live in, and this 6 letters. So this is like the final year in terms of like our alphabetical order. So it's,
what you mean?
Well, an alphabet, right? The English alphabet. Z is 26.
Oh yeah,
So
26. Yeah, 26. Yeah, 26. And the cipher, yeah, Z, 26 letter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know, but they also got the 2030 agendas, and they got the 2040, and they got the 2050.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what that entails, but it's on the books. The Jesuit World Economic Forum, they already signed off on everything, so I don't know. We'll see.
Well, the thing I'm reading right now is called The End of Population Growth. It's from the Club of Rome. It's actually a fascinating book, and it talks about why human civilization is going to decline and why the human population will probably go to 1.6 billion people by 2040. I mean, it's absolutely fascinating.
Is Club of Rome Jesuit operation, or they own separate though?
Well, I would say they're Jesuit because it's Rome, right? And then like the guy who bought
I mean,
Caesars
yeah,
today,
well,
which is
yeah.
a Caesars is a company we said was going to go bankrupt. They got bought out today by the Italian ambassador from the U.S. who owns the Houston Rockets, which I find very stunning.
Say it one more time. I can't hear you.
Oh, that the owner of
The
Caesars
owner,
Resort bailed him out.
the owner of Caesars Resort bailed out the club of Rome.
No. The owner of the Houston Rockets bought Caesars Resorts, bailed them out,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and he's the Italian ambassador.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay.
So
Damn.
that's crazy. That's like crazy shit, dude. Like to me, it's symbolizing Rome power growing even more. And then you have
Yeah.
Miriam,
Adelson.
what
Yeah.
used to Las Vegas Sands, owns the Dallas
Yeah.
Mavericks.
All right. Yeah, she bought it from what's that guy name?
Cuban.
Mark Cuban. Yeah, she bought it from Mark Cuban.
So
And that
you
was
have
weird.
her owning the Mavericks, and she's Vegas, made her fortune in Vegas. And then you have the Houston Rockets guy buying Caesars Resorts and bailing them out, essentially. So that's another NBA Vegas connection.
All right, and that's also assigned to the gambling stuff, man. They going hardcore with the gambling.
Oh yeah, everybody wants to make money on like prediction market stuff, and I don't know. It's really
Yeah,
interesting.
Kalshi. You got Kalshi?
I use Kalishi and Price Picks. Yeah.
Shit, that's just the funniest app ever. They have the craziest things to bet on there. I haven't bet nothing on there. I just look at it every now and then. I'm like, what is this? Like, it is
I'm
so
actually
crazy.
betting on Price Picks and Kalishi, dude. I'm doubling up. So, for example, I'm betting that California is going to turn red. It's too obvious with this whole Christian narrative stuff.
On Kalshi?
I'm betting that like Steve Hilton will win in California for the governor, and then like Spencer Pratt will win in LA.
You said Kalshi?
Kalishi and Price Picks. You can bet on culture on Price Picks now.
Oh, I didn't know they did price picks too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. They got. I didn't look at that. You said who is going red? You said
California.
Oh shit. Well, they say they got Newsom and another app going for president 2028 already.
Newsom.
Yeah. I don't
Maybe.
know. Because other like foreign politicians keep like bringing them up, so they like some people like do a future on it. I don't bet like that, but they keep bringing it up. I'm like, I don't know. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible.
Well, Newsom is the 42nd mayor of San Francisco, the 40th governor of California.
Right.
It's possible. Comes from the
But he just
Gettys.
tried though. He just tried. Well, I guess it don't matter anyway. It's all selected, so it's all selection. Right? It don't even matter.
Yeah, they're gonna put in who they want to put in, but I do see the whole like Christian extremism rising in California, dude. It's crazy, and then people here are saying like when you tell them stuff that Trump is the only reason they have to live. They have to believe he can save the country and make it better, and it's really sad that they have to believe in this guy.
Yeah, man, we ain't got no options right now. I mean, did we ever? I don't know, but right now it's bad. Like who's on the ticket right now? Newsom and Kamala gonna be on the Democrat side, and then who's on the Republican? Maybe JD Vance, maybe
Trump.
Maybe Trump can't run again. He did 2 terms already. He did 2 terms. That's out there. That's out there theory. I've heard that. He said he's gonna run for prime minister of what's the place? The Israel. Best buddy. The best buddy. Yeah, Israel. He's funny. Trump is funny as shit. I hate him, but he's funny as shit. He's real. He's going to run for. I mean, damn, they don't have a rule that you got to be born here at least or something. Like, what the hell?
They have a birth to citizen program that was created by the Alderson family in Israel.
Right.
You can automatically register for citizenship in Israel.
And then run for president.
Prime Minister, yeah.
Oh, prime minister. But they have
the
president separate, right?
The president of Israel is the Herzog family. They've been in charge of Israel forever. The prime minister, Netanyahu, is, in second command under Herzog.
Oh, I didn't know that. So they got the president and they got a president and a prime minister.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. Shit.
Well,
and you say the prime minister is under the president, right?
Yeah, Bibi's under the president.
He seems to be in charge. He seems to be in charge.
Yeah, well, Bibi just makes like foreign policies and stuff. The like domestic policies and international law goes through Herzog.
Right.
So
okay, Herzog, I didn't know that. I gotta look them up. I don't know about them.
Look up Isaac Herzog.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know about them.
Yeah.
What's the tie-in with did you ever see the Idi Amin video when he was talking about Israel took over Palestine by getting arms from British in America? You ever saw that?
No.
Yeah, look that one up. It's like Idi Amin was talking about it, but he was like clicked up with the Israels, like Golda Meir. I don't know what she was, the president or prime minister or something at the time. In like the 60s, 70s, Golda Meir.
I'll have to look it up, but
yeah, you look that up. But yeah, Idi Amin from Uganda, he was talking about, even back then, he was talking about how Israel took over Palestine. He was like, they got arms from the British in America to take over Israel and all that stuff. But he was clicked up with Israel too. That I think that was fun to him also. But yeah, that's an interesting look up too. And then they end up making him a bad guy too later. I don't know the background with Uganda and all that, but Israel had an influence in Uganda with the Indians and stuff. They was importing Indians. British was over there in India bringing Indians and stuff. So interesting look up.
Absolutely. But Zach, I did post the Substack note in the chat if you could pull it up, and I'm gonna have to run, dude. I gotta run some errands at the store real fast.
Okay, that's the voice of Pigo's Trading Desk. We had Ace jump in here. If you wanted to share something, Ace.
But yeah, my bad.
Yo, Zach.
Yeah, what's up?
Yo, man, it's hard to get on them morning streams for the sports decode, so I apologize.
Hey, Ace, I'm gonna be right back. I'm sorry, Ace, this is my daughter. I'll be right back. But share whatever you want with the community. You got another friend here too, Congo Bongo. I'll be right back.
Well, Bongo, you could take over, bro. I really just got a question for him. I'll wait till you come back.
What's up, bro? Yeah, no, I was I don't know when you hopped in it. I was saying there's a book called Jesuits in Paraguay. Y'all can look that up. It explains like how they be infiltrating and got them taking over systems. And this was before America was even established. So that's an interesting read. It was like in the early 1700s. If y'all want to look that up, that's an interesting thing to look up. But now I was just explaining to bro, like he was saying he hopped off already, didn't he? Yeah, he hopped off. He was saying what was it? Gavin Newsom might be the runner for president. I was like, I don't know, bro. They play too much games, bro. I don't know who. 2028. So I was like, I don't want to get all political right now. I don't know what's up with the Freedom Con thing. Where's the Freedom Con at? Up there on your side, is that? Washington State?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm over in Atlanta side. Yeah, so way out there.
Yeah, it's about as far away as possible from you.
All right. So what they talking about though?
They want to get the entire country voting red and Republican, and they want to make America a theocracy. They want Jesus in politics. That's what it's about.
Sound like that TPUSA thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like Trump from the Bible on Rome's birthday.
Right. Yeah. What's up with Charlie Kirk thing? What you think about that?
Oh, well, I mean, just another huge 88 ritual. Remember, Charlie Kirk died 88 days after Trump's birthday. Turning point USA equals Holy Roman Empire every which way. Again, that last successful video I had was exposing the whole Charlie Kirk psyop, which it was, and they took it down for hate speech, which was a bunch of BS. Again, I'm not allowed to get any views these days. So I had 3 videos that did well, and they all got taken down for hate speech.
Right. Yeah, I seen he was getting money from APAC and everything right before all that too.
Yeah, and he didn't die. I mean, it's a hoax. The big thing in the chat.
Yeah.
None of that made sense. He supposedly got shot by a 30-06 and his head didn't come off. The bullet got lodged in his spine. BS.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you.
Yeah, totally fake. Ace, you were saying something before I ran off from my daughter. What's up, Ace?
Yeah, man. I was just saying, bro. It's hard to call in on the sports decodes in the morning, but I had a question about the NFL game in Melbourne. It's played on 9/11, but we're gonna see it 9/10. How are you decoding it with that?
Oh, is that the Wednesday game between the Patriots and Seahawks?
No, that's the Niners and Rams game. It's played in Australia, so they playing
right.
Friday.
The Seahawks is on 9/9, the anniversary of the United States getting named.
Yeah.
America equals 139. The Seahawks are 12-9 versus the Patriots. I gotta look. I would go with what day it is where the location is rather than what day it is in the States.
Okay, that makes sense. I think it's very interesting though. I just found out that Victoria, Australia had a gold rush same time as the California gold rush. So I figured that's why they put both these teams out there.
I'll have to look into that. That's a good piece of research. I've never researched their gold rush out there in Australia. Interesting.
Yeah. But I just had a question about that, boss. I'm gonna just tap in.
Okay, appreciate it, Ace.
Yes, sir.
All right, and yeah, sorry guys. Normally my daughter naps for 2 hours. She woke up after an hour today, so that caught me off guard, but messed things up here a little bit. Congo Bongo, anything else you wanted to add?
I was gonna ask. I forgot what I was gonna ask you. Man, dang, I just had it on my head. I think I'm good for now, man. I'll probably catch you on the next one.
All right, but I love the piece of research you came in with. Great historical example, and I'm pretty sure those historical examples are far and wide about what the Jesuits have done all over this world.
Jesuits in Paraguay. Yeah, you turned me on to the that show too. I watched like 3 episodes of the Shogun.
Yeah, the Protestants show up in Japan, but the Jesuits in the church are already there, and they want to keep it under wraps. It's the best
that was so wild. I was like, damn, what the hell? He's like, damn.
The last Jesuit superior general, he died out in Japan. Adolfo Nicholas, he died by the numbers on Cannonball Day, the day to remember Jesuits getting shot. And Cannonball Day leaves 225 days left in the year. Adolfo Nicholas, 225, dead on the day, leaving 225 days. And you see the 54 and 72 in his name, just like Jesuit order.
Right.
Yeah.
Died in Japan?
Yeah, Adolfo Nicholas died in Japan.
Damn, that's crazy.
His death was taken with the current superior general. If I remember right, he died 191 days from Arturo Sosa's birthday, like Society of Jesus is 191.
So you thinking they still operating the same, like with Japan and China and all that Far East?
Oh, of course they are.
All right. That makes it.
Want some more milk?
So what? Didn't Trump just come from China the other day, a couple days ago? Something?
Yeah, he was in China by the numbers. Yeah. Well, they were scaring us with the latest virus. He's in China.
Right. Yeah, that's funny. That was the hunter thing.
Yeah. Funny how they do it, right? It's all mockery.
Right. Yeah. Damn. That's crazy. That's wild as up. Yeah, man. It's a one world system, obviously. I don't know why people can't wrap their head around it.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'm gonna have to wrap this one up early because she didn't sleep her normal. She's extra fussy, and I don't know why. It's warmer here today. I don't know if the heat got to her or what. She doesn't want to put her shirt on today either. She's going topless. So,
Sweet, yeah. All right, Zach.
all right, Congo Bongo. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, catch you later.
All right, take care. I'm going to drop the link one more time, just in case there are people out there that really want to come on and share, but I'm going to have to go back and forth between entertaining her out in the playroom and seeing if she'll tolerate a little snack here and there. So, yeah, if you guys do have anything to share about this topic, I was hoping to have more of a discussion, but sweet girl, she just didn't want to sleep today. So, yeah, it could be teething. Yeah, she's got a lot of teeth coming in. A couple of weeks ago, she was having a really rough week with the teeth coming in. By the way, that video I put out earlier today. All right, we'll go out there and play, okay? It's too hot to go outside today. It's over 90 degrees out here today. It's like, ooh, summer came way early. But that video I did earlier today on how Pam Joe Bondi's thyroid cancer is this perfect ritual, paying tribute to the exact thing we said when they announced the AI project to solve cancer. I missed a big piece with that, so I'll do a follow-up video. It's crazy how perfect it is, you guys. And yeah, I mean, it'd be like utopia, right? If they cure Pam Joe Bondi's cancer with the $1 billion investment into the Stargate project. Did she ever even have cancer? Is it some justification for the billions of taxpayer dollars taken away? If you go get that treatment that they're going to offer, is it going to create more problems than good? I mean, don't kid yourself. So anyway, I'll be doing a follow-up on that. It doesn't look like we have anybody else in here. Sweet girl said, that's enough, Dad. If you guys want to check out Pigo's Trading Desk, this is his Substack. He does a lot of good research. And yeah, I wish this one could have gone longer. But if you're out there, Pastor McPherson, want to debate yours? See, you guys, that's the problem with just having such a small channel being deleted so many times, getting no views. Anybody who would come across this would be like, I don't even need to contend with that guy. He doesn't even have anyone watching him. That is the whole problem. And it's just so easy to keep people from watching, right? I hear people coming every day, man, I forgot about your channel because I haven't gotten any notifications. It's just so easy for YouTube to just, okay, sweet girl. That's how I want to cry too. It's so easy for YouTube to destroy you by just not notifying your subscribers because everyone's just used to clicking on things and not searching. I bet you so few people even type in words for a search on YouTube. They just click on whatever's in their feed. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. Thank you to all the super chatters. And we'll be back soon. I might have to do this topic again because we got cut short today, you guys. And thank you, Congo Bongo, also for the great intel on the Jesuits down in South America. All right, True Seeker. Till next time.